welcome back from the break, everybody. I'm here with our next presenter, and I just realized I lost my tab, so let me find that again. Okay, our next presentation is Catalogers Advance, and we have Jason here from Round Rock Public Library. So I'm going to pass it over to Jason.
Hi, everyone. My name is Jason Vasché. I'm a cataloging librarian here at the great Round Rock Public Library. I've been here since 2018, and so that's when I became a Koha user. Prior to that, I didn't know anything about Koha. Funny enough, when I was looking at the job description for this position, there was some language in there that mentioned that it was a Koha institution. I thought, Koha, I wonder what that is. So it's some Native American tribe that's local to the region, but silly me. I learned later that it was actually a library ILS. So at any rate, so here I am, and I'm here to talk to you today about the Advanced Catalog Editor. I'm not an expert by any means in this. I don't know all the ins and outs, but I'll share with you what I've learned about it. I use it pretty much exclusively. And so when I talk this afternoon, depending on where you are, I'm going to be speaking within the context of one of our ongoing catalog cleanup projects, which is to update all the adult nonfiction spine labels to include an expanded line for the author title after the Dewey number, and then also include the pub year. This is something that's mostly done by volunteers, or at least pre-pandemic, it was done by volunteers. I think we had maybe one library staff member working on it occasionally, but it's pretty much all people who had little to no library background, and they did this exclusively in the Advanced Catalog Editor. Their tasks in this project were to update the 092, which is the call number field that we use. They would need that's in the bib record. They update the 092 in the bib record, and then they update the call number in the item record and add the pub year in the item record. So those bits of information will come back later. So, so using this kind of as our running example, I'll give a brief overview of the Advanced Catalog Editor's features, and then I'm going to spend a little bit of time talking about macros, which is one of my favorite features of the Advanced Editor. Okay, so what this is not, it is not an introduction to cataloging. It's not an exhaustive treatment of all the Advanced Editor features. Again, I've only been using it for 2-3 years now, maybe 2.5, 3 years. I'm not a power user by any means. I'm still learning too, and maybe there will be people in the chat who can share other tips and tricks as we go along. Is also not a polemic of any sort against the basic editor and its fans. Even though I strongly prefer the Advanced Editor, I think Koha deserves some props for providing kind of a more structured alternative. I think this is the only ILS that I've used that has such a thing. So good for Koha for branching out and trying to do something different with that. And on that note, I think that basic and advanced are kind of misnomers in this sense. Advanced to me suggests that there's a certain level of proficiency required before you can use it. Sort of like advanced algebra in high school. You can't just do advanced algebra, you have to start with basic algebra. But this is not really the case with this. I think maybe better terms to differentiate these editors are structured for the basic and maybe unstructured or free text for the advanced. And as we get in, we'll kind of look at these differences. So on that, we'll dive in, and I would like to introduce my lovely assistant for this presentation. This is Jungle of the Maya, a book in our collection. It has a spine label that needs to be, whoops, it's not really focusing, but there you go. It has a spine label that needs to be updated. It only has 3 for GOO, and there's no pub year. So we're going to use this. So I will share my screen now, and we will go to our cataloging screen here. Whoops. Okay. So here we are in Koha, and I'm going to go to the cataloging module. And in cataloging search, I'm just going to enter, obviously you can do title or ISBN or barcode or whatever. I'm just going to scan the ISBN. Whoops, there we are. Here we are, Jungle of the Maya. Okay, so our volunteer has scanned in the ISBN, and now we're going to open up the record because we need to update our 092 and the bib record, and we need to update our call number and add our pub year to the item record. So if I go to Actions, Edit Record, here we see the basic version, right? So the basic version, in the basic version, I would scroll down to the 092, and I would add what I need here. And then I would go to my 2, and I'd go to my 264, and I'd make a note, okay, this is 2006. And then I would save this, and then I would edit my items, and I'd go do that. But so I'm not going to do that. I'm going to go, instead I'm going to go to Settings. I'm going to switch to the Advanced Editor. Okay, let's continue. So here we see the Advanced Editor, and yes, it looks like a giant mess of text for someone who's not fluent in Mark, or even for someone who is fluent in Mark. It just looks like a big mess of text and colors and numbers and stuff. But so what we see here, there's a lot less clicking involved. See, in the basic editor, I need to go to my zeros and scroll down, do that, and then I need to click on my 2, and I need to scroll down to my 264, check that. Then I need to click again to get to my items and so on. At least here, there's a little bit less clicking involved. So I can go as the volunteer, I can go to my 092. So I look, Goodell. So I'm just going to go add this ELL. Actually, sorry, I'm getting ahead of myself. Sorry. So before I do all this, let's take a moment and let's look at some other differences in this this editor, right? So you see at the top we have editing catalog record, the bib number here. We have view. So if we click on this, this will take us to a catalog view of this. I have this edit items link here, which will open up the item record in a different tab. And then we have a bunch of, we have our Z39, Z3950 options along the left, and there's a little clipboard down here. Then we have our buttons. So a new record, if you want to create a new record, you click that. We have our Save to Catalog button, which you can also use Control-S to save. You can save it as a MARC file, as a MARC XML file if you want. There's a place where you can import a record, which we don't really use here, so I can't speak much to that. Macros, we'll talk about more in a little bit. Settings, we have the switch to basic editor, which we are not going to do. Show helpers for fixed and coded fields is very useful, because here if you look, say it like your leader, the 000, and like the fixed fields, 008, it's just this sort of like string of characters, which doesn't really make much sense. But so if we click on here, show helpers, this will space things out, and it will provide drop-down menus for all these different things, which makes it a lot easier to fill in these fixed fields, both in that you don't have to be counting character positions to get to the right thing, and you also don't have to worry about remembering, what is it for maps in this? You can just go in here and I don't see maps in here. Oh, here we are, B, maps, right. So that's a very useful thing, and you can turn it on and off. So alerts, this will show you if you've tried to save the record and it won't, if there's an error, it will say there's an error on the page. Unfortunately, it doesn't tell you what the error is, even though on the screen, if you try to save and there's an error, it will say, did not save, lacking, 005 field or whatever it is. And so you can go and fix that. But so the alerts will just tell you that you've saved it X number of times, that there have been errors X number of times. Keyboard shortcuts, this is a really useful tab. And one thing that I've learned is that you can alter your keyboard shortcuts to be, in order to still be able to use your operating system's default keyboard shortcuts. Say, for instance, Control X on this Windows machine allows me to cut a highlighted section of text and then paste it later or not. But in the default shortcuts in the advanced catalog editor, I'm pretty sure it was to copy, or it was to delete the current field and to copy it to the clipboard, I think, which is this little area down over here on the left, which I don't really use. Frankly, I find that the regular Control X function works just as well, if not better. So if I wanted to continue to use that regular Control X, I need to redefine my shortcut for delete current field and copy to clipboard, which you can do up here in redefine shortcuts. So along those same notes, you see on the keyboard shortcuts, there are 2 Alt shortcuts here for the copyright symbol and the sound recording copyright symbol, the circle C and circle P. I find it helpful to keep a little cheat sheet of other Alt plus codes taped to my monitor for diacritics, for cataloging in Spanish, or for other symbols that you might use. And those, you can find those all over the web. There are different sites that list alt code diacritics. So at any rate, so that's that. And so so those are the buttons along there. So what you might be thinking right now is, well, I really appreciate in the basic editor how it showed all these different fields, and it also described all the fields. So I knew, the difference between 082 and 092, or 250 or 254 or what have you, right? So in the advanced editor, there is a help function, a mark field help function, and it's a little well, basically what you would do is you would click, say you click on field, anywhere in the field. I'm going to choose this 092, and then down along the bottom, you see there's a blue row, and it'll say 092 with a question mark, locally assigned Dewey call number, OCLC. So if you click on this question mark, this will take you to the loc.gov mark entry for that field. So this is maybe not the best example of that, but if I click, say, on my 245, you want to know about the first and second indicators, which one you should use, right? So if you do that, 245 title statement, I click here, and then here you get that full thing. So it's nice. You don't have to worry about keeping the the mark definitions LOC pages open next to you. You can just hop over to it as you need to. Let's see here. So I'm wandering a little far afield from our volunteers task here. So let's get back to that. So I'm the volunteer again. I need to update my 092, and then I need to fix my item record. Okay, so I'm going to go to my 092. I'm just going to add EDELL. I can click Save to Catalog, or I can do Control S. Either way, it'll save. And then over here we have our record save, this big green button. Now if I go to my alerts, I'll see previous alerts, record saved. Right? Now if I hang on, let's just do this real quick. Hang on, I'm going to show my fields verbatim. I'm just going to do my Control X here. And now I'm going to try and save this again. Now here we see this record structure invalid, cannot save. If I go up here and I see up at the very top, this pink row, missing mandatory tag 942. So this will happen with fixed fields, or if there are other essential fields that you have set up for your record, then it will include that in there. So if I go to alerts, record structure invalid, cannot save. It doesn't tell me why, but at least we know it's there. So I'm just going to do, let me put this back in, Control V, and now we'll save it again, Control S. Record saved. We'll look at our alerts. Great. Okay, so there we go. So there's that. Again, alerts aren't really the most crucial thing. I don't really check the alerts very much, but just so you know it's there, right? Okay, so now our bib record has been saved. So now I'm going to click on our edit items up here, kind of near the top, to open up our item list. I'm just going to edit this really quick since I'm here. Sorry. So one thing that I want to point out in this as the volunteer, because I'm in the advanced catalog editor, I have less clicking I need to do, right? I can see my 092 that needs to be updated. And I just scan down a couple lines to my 264. It's like, okay, this is 2006. So this means I'm not going to have to take the time to go back to the basic bib record. I'm not going to have to open up the book to find the date in there, right? So I can just add in my serial enumeration chronology 2006 DELL. We update that. I go to the end and save my changes, and then that's done. So I can mark that one off the list. I can put this book back on the cart, and I can get the next one of like 10,000 that still have to be done. So that's kind of the basics of the advanced catalog editor in terms of editing records and finding your way around. So the next question you may have is like, well, what about creating a new record? The basic editor has all these different fields. It's got all the fields already there. I don't need to think about, well, what needs to go in my record. Well, so two things. Number one, it's great. Again, it's great that the basic editor lays out all this stuff, but there are actually a lot of mark fields in there that aren't really going to be necessary for every book or every item that you catalog. So, for better or for worse. But so the way we do it in the advanced editor is we use macros to build templates. And so macros, yes, we skipped over these macros earlier. But I should also mention, before I get into macros, when you go into the new record here, which I'm going to do just for a second, there are, whoops, hey, no. Oh, boy. Okay, that's better. Oh, brother. Okay, there we go. Yes. Oh, sorry. Technical issue. All right. Okay. So now if I go to just really quick, I want to show you one other thing in the advanced editor. So if I go to new record from the cataloging module home, you'll see there is this default framework. There are all these different frameworks. So I think there's a way that you can in the one of the admin modules, you can set up templates for new records, which will, populate the new record with a bunch of different fields, the whatever fields you need for that. Our library never set those up for whatever reason. I mean, it was before I got here, so I don't really know the exact reason. And it could be that because we don't do a whole lot of original cataloging, it didn't seem worthwhile at the time. So at any rate, though, we have overcome that hurdle by using macros instead. So what is a macro? A macro is a quick shortcut. It's not a keyboard shortcut. It's very flexible. You can set up macros for just about any, adding any field in the in Mark, whether it's just a plain empty field or a pre-populated field. Let me just walk through some of my macros that I have on my machine, and just so you can see some of the different types, right? So we have single macros, like say you only needed to add your call number, or you had a special note, say like for this 500 genealogy holdings, there's a certain note that goes in all of our genealogy items that I don't remember because I don't catalog those items frequently enough. But it's very useful, so I have it in here in this macro, and I just click run macro, and it adds that 500 field to the record, the bib record. We also have combinations, right, what I call a lazy macro. So and when I'm doing nonfiction, I almost always have to add an 092 call number field, and I always have to add a 583 action field for cataloging completed. So I made a macro that added both of those. So here you see this, new 092, new 583, and I have all the information in there. And it may just need to be updated. So tomorrow, so you see 2020 09 23. Tomorrow I'll update this to 924, and it will automatically save. And so that's really all the maintenance you have to do on a macro day to day. Then we also have our templates. I only have one macro, one template in here for original cataloging, and that's the adult nonfiction down here at the bottom. And so you see here, oops. So I have all these different fields, and this doesn't have every single field. I mean, if you look, there are no subject fields, no 650s or 600s. There are no 700s, but those are easily added. These are the basic things that work for, for fiction, for nonfiction alike. We do keep a Word doc of a more comprehensive list of macros on our shared drive that all the catalogers can access, which is really useful because when the new update of Koha goes live in your system and you clear out your cache, then all of your macros will be wiped out. Yes, they will be all wiped out. So it's very useful to keep some sort of a backup, so you can just copy and paste everything right back in. It takes maybe 10 minutes or so, but it's a lot better than having to take a lot longer to try and reconstruct all of your macros from memory. So definitely recommend it. Let's see here. Oh, and so that all the things in that doc are, let me pull it up here. They're already formatted for the macro editor. So it's just a matter of copying, pasting, you're done. So let's see here. So how would I make a new macro? Okay, well, let's just go with keep with our example here. So you see my 092 here. And this, sorry, I should say this does happen occasionally in this project where the volunteer comes across a record that doesn't have an 092 field for some reason. So they need to add one. So you see on my machine, I have my new 092, and it just has subfield A, subfield B. But let's say we wanted to make it a little easier for our volunteers. Let's say we're going to make one where the subfield A is NF, which is our code for nonfiction. So I'm going to scroll down here to the bottom. Whoops, come on. New macro. So we're going to give it a title. We're going to say 092 adult nonfiction. Okay. Says all right. So what's it going to be? So I'm going to say new space 092 equals subfield A. And so my the double dagger sign is Control D in the advanced catalog editor. So subfield A, NF, subfield B, I'm going to leave that blank. So, okay, so I see over here on the right, it says that it's saved. So now I'm just going to run this macro here. And so we look in here, whoops, and we see just below our regular 092, there's this new one that's been added. So if there wasn't an 092, we would just add this in here, and then the volunteer would copy the call number from the item record, or at the very least from the label, and put that in. So that's that. So let me think if I have anything else to say about this. That pretty much covers what I was going to talk about. I spoke a little faster than I expected, so we have plenty of time. If you have questions or other pro tips from you veteran catalogers out there, I will. I don't know if Lisette, if you have anything from the chat.
Yes.
Yes.
So let's see. Edville asks, so Jason, are you using volunteers to do some of your cataloging?
We aren't using volunteers to do like full level cataloging. Like they're not doing full copy cataloging. Usually it's just like for this project, they'll have maybe one or two fields to update. We are fortunate to have among our volunteers some retired librarians, and they are former catalogers, and so they do more librarian level tasks like authority work or copy catalog and that sort of thing.
Okay. And Heather asked, are these macros available on the Koha Wiki?
I don't think so. To be honest, I've never looked for macros on the Koha Wiki, but I'm happy to share the macros that I have with people through some channel or other.
We highly recommend that you put them on the wiki for the community to share.
Okay, I will make a note to do that. I didn't know I had that kind of power to adjust the wiki.
You just have to request an account.
Oh, all right.
I will remember how you do that.
Account.
Because I did a while ago. If you don't hear back right away, you can jump onto the Koha IRC, be like, "Hey, I requested an account a week ago and haven't heard."
Okay, okay. Just give someone a nudge. All right.
I know Katrine does a lot of the. She's helped me out, like when I forgot what my wiki username was, because I originally made it like 5 years ago and then didn't do anything with it for 3 years. So.
Okay. Okay.
Let's see. Is it difficult to create a macro in Koha? Yes. Tara.
Well, it depends on difficult. No, it helps that. Well, I mean, really, the hardest thing is just getting the formatting, which is not really that hard, because, like, say if you wanted to create a wiki for 3x fields for graphic novels, really all that you would need to do would be to look in your collection for a graphic novel, like let's just say Planet of the Apes Omnibus, which is great, by the way. I'm reading it right now. All you have to do is go into the record, and then you highlight those lines, right? You have text, still image, unmediated volume, and then I'm going to go to macros. Let's just say, whoops, new macro. I already have one for oh no, I only have one for eComics on there. So I'm just going to say 33X RDA comics. But they're graphic novels. I know. So I'm just going to, whoops. So I just have to format this a little different. So you put new space, new, and then I'm going to eliminate these underscores with equal, or replace those with equals. Whoops. Equals. Equals. Right, so there I have that right there. So then I can just, let's see, it's saved. So I could just run it here, and then here we go. So we've got a whole new batch, which I can now get rid of. I'm just going to do Control Z to eliminate those. It's undo. So yeah, so it's really straightforward. If you already have materials in your collection, in your catalog that that have that formatting that you want. The only thing that might be tricky, the only macro that might be tricky might be some of the ones for original cataloging. Just make sure that your institutional code for OCLC, which I didn't when I got here. But it's usually readily available. So does that answer your question?
Let's see. Barbara put bug 17268 in the chat. That retains macros when cleaning the cache, which
Wait,
has
what
been
does?
bug 17268.
Oh.
And that's pushed to master for 2005. So
boy. We're on 1911 right now.
Yeah, so the next
All
update
right.
my water partners will get, the next major update is 2005.
Okay, well that's good.
If you're not a partner, you.
Okay, well anyone already on 2005, you can disregard my comment about clearing the cache. Thank you, Barbara.
Let's see. If you run macro, does it insert the lines? Asked Lori.
Yes, it does insert the lines. Sadly, I can't run a macro only for a subfield. Like, we still use the subfield H, the GMD, for 245, mostly just as a kind of a service to patrons, like another very kind of clear way to distinguish between, say, like the audiobook version or the DVD or whatever of a work. But so I can't just have a macro that only inserts subfield H DVD in my 245, unfortunately. That'd be a pretty awesome ad for 2011, but it's probably not going to happen. It's probably not even a bug.
Yeah, I was going to say, do you know if there's a bug for that?
I don't think so. Maybe I should put one in.
Yeah.
All right.
And then if you do it before our catalog and Bugapalooza session tomorrow.
Bugapalooza.
If you bring it to that, or if you can't make it, if you email it to info@koha-US.org,
Sure.
I'll take it.
Okay.
Because if we can get other people who are using the advanced editor talking about it and hyping it up.
Okay.
Fred asks, where do you go to get your records? If they're from OCLC or another place with 082s, would it be comparatively simple to convert them to an 092?
Yeah, it'd be really simple to convert them to 092. Well, I don't know if it'd be about converting. I mean, we do get a lot of OCLC records. We get some others, mostly for ebook and e-audiobook. We get them from Overdrive, but we haven't really looked into replacing an 082 with an 092. But a lot of times the 082 provides the baseline for the 092 that we had. It's not, we don't always go 100% with the 082, but it's in there.
when we were talking about the wiki and you said I didn't know I had the power to do that, Spencer said, "Don't let it go to your head."
Oh, no, I won't.
And Fred said, "Everybody has the power to change, add, improve Koha." And Heather said, "Wiki, wiki, wiki." Um, and then Heather and Barbara both said, "Yes, an enhancement for macros that act only on subfields." Slash, I don't see a bug for that yet, but we would love that. So,
All right. Well, thanks for having me, everyone.
yeah, anyone else have any questions for Jason? Also, Jason, your office mate Jason was also answering some of the questions in chat,
Oh,
but I wanted
good.
to
Yeah,
welcome
I
him
knew
as
he
well.
was going to be there. I told him if it started going badly to just start disrupting the chat, but I'm glad that he didn't have to take those drastic measures.
Me too. I think it went great. So, thank you very
All right.
much. I learned a lot
Thanks,
about the
everyone.
advanced editor today.
Oh, let me
Oh,
stop sharing.
there's another question. Tomas
Oh,
asked, "Can macro modify values which are already in?"
yeah. Well, macro will completely well, it won't override your existing field. So say you have, like in the example that I showed with this, in the 092 example, whoops, right, adding another 092, my 092 adult nonfiction, it doesn't override the pre-existing 092, it just adds another one. So yeah, you don't have to worry about crucial information being lost, or you don't get to just overwrite all the old junky stuff with the new good stuff. So for better or for worse.
And can you, and maybe I missed this, can you delete lines with a macro? Like if there's fields you
No, I think macros are just for adding.
just for
Deleting, you
adding
just have to
lines.
do it the old-fashioned way.
Okay, cool. Well, unless anyone else has any questions, I think we'll go to break for a short while and be back at, wait, let's see, when's our next one? Oh, right, this is our like lunch break, and then we'll be back with very, very basic jQuery at 1 Pacific / 4 Eastern. If you haven't registered yet for the conference and you're planning on coming to our event tonight or to Bugapalooza tomorrow, please make sure you're registered because we'll be sending out the Zoom link for those events during the very, very basic jQuery presentation. Oh, Heather said, super presentation, standing ovation.
Oh, thanks,
And
Heather.
Michelle has 2 questions. Where would I
Oh,
find
right.
advanced editor? It does not show where it does on Jason's screen. And 2, the same for macros. I don't have those on the screen either. You might need the permission.
Yes.
Because I think there's a permission for the advanced editor. I
And
don't.
sorry, what was the questioner's name?
Michelle Perry.
Michelle. Michelle. If you go to your settings and the basic editor, is there an option to toggle to the advanced editor? Yeah, if not, there may be some kind of permissions, or I don't know if there's in the admin if there's a way that to just universally turn advanced editor on or off. I don't know that much about what happens behind that part, that curtain.
I believe it got switched from. I think it's just a permission now. I think that got changed sometime in the last year. I might be wrong. Oh, let's see. Michelle, I'm super librarian and can't find editor either. Okay, let me just look at the admin settings real quick. Yes, it's we'll be back in just over an hour. It's our lunch break today. Our advanced editor needs to have HTTP access, so it needs permission in browser especially. Okay, system preference, enable advanced cataloging editor.
Do it. Do it.
And then I think even after that, you might still have, for non-system librarians, you might still have a preference. Let's see. Set permissions. Yes, so then there's also a use the advanced cataloging editor user permission once that system preference is turned on, and they have that or are a super librarian. Okay, so we'll reconvene in, according to my clock, 65 minutes. I hope everyone
Great.
has a nice lunch, and thank you very much, Jason.
Thanks again. Thanks for having me. Good to see you all. Bye.